I spent months trying to figure out where to watch Big Boy. Turns out, I worried way too much. You know, I had 6 backup plans. 6. Maps, satellite imagery, parking ideas, escape routes. I treated this like I was planning the Normandy invasion for a steam locomotive. Because after seeing Horseshoe Curve, after seeing Crescent, after reading every Facebook comment from every self-appointed expert, I had convinced myself that there wasn't going to be a square inch of western Pennsylvania left to stand on. So, Dad and I left around 7 in the morning. Tom Petty Radio on Sirius XM, talking about the Rolling Stones while Monkey Man played. Just another Saturday morning. Except it wasn't. We rolled into Bird's Crossing in Derry, PA around 8 in the morning. I fully expected to drive past, look at the chaos, laugh, and move on to Plan B or C or D. Instead, I pulled in, looked around, and realized I was the first one here. What? Seriously? Months of planning, and somehow I won! I had first pick of every spot, parked exactly where I wanted, 25 feet back, of course, right by the crossing. Done. Sometimes getting up at 6 in the morning on your day off actually pays off. The weather stayed cloudy, and I'm not proud of this, but several of us in my little Railfan community were quietly rooting for rain. Not because we wanted to get wet. We just figured maybe it'd scare away half the crowd. It didn't. Turns out sunshine is stronger than pessimism. Around 10, people slowly started trickling in. You could almost categorize them. The hardcore rail fans, the families, the people who saw it on the evening news, and that one guy who's somehow wearing overalls in 85-degree weather and looks completely comfortable. Every railroad event has one. It's like federal law or something. Meanwhile, I had my laptop open. Horseshoe Curve on one side, Johnstown on the other. Watching Horseshoe Curve from the comfort of my driver's seat. And, I'll admit it, I was wrong. I spent months joking that Horseshoe Curve was going to become Foamer Woodstock. It looked crowded, but honestly, people still had room to breathe. If I'd known it would be like that, I probably would have bought a ticket myself. Crescent, though? Yeah. That basically became exactly what I thought Horseshoe Curve would have been. Foamer Coachella. I'm good, and glad I didn't go. Back at Bird's Crossing, the railroad was already rewarding me. Amtrak flew through. Then, New York Central. Friday, I caught Penn Central and Lackawanna back in my neck of the woods. Now, New York Central today. 3 heritage units in less than 48 hours. At this point, Norfolk Southern is either apologizing personally or they're spying on my YouTube channel. Then came 36A, 3 units, a DPU, auto racks, then 2 BNSF units, bringing back a grain train, 4 in power. Then, a sand train with Canadian Pacific power. By now, Big Boy hadn't even shown up and was still several hours away. And this had already become one of the best Railfan days I've had to date. Dad put the canopy up. My sister arrived. My nephew came. We now had manufactured shade. People started talking. One gentleman spent a good chunk of the day hanging out with us. Really nice guy. I gave him my YouTube channel. If you're watching this, sir, I genuinely appreciate the company. Sorry I forgot your name. Eventually, the crowd grew. Probably 50 cars by my estimate. 150 people by my guess. Most people parked respectfully. Then, there were the others. The ones who park like nobody else exists but them. Blocking entrances. Blocking exits. Parking wherever their heart tells them. Which eventually became their problem. Because the local fire department showed up and politely reminded everyone about the 25-foot rule. Move or get towed. Suddenly, a parade of 25 cars started relocating, including one lady who was auditioning for the role of Karen of the Year. Man, that gave me secondhand douche chills. Meanwhile, those of us who planned ahead never had to move an inch. Funny how preparation works. Then, my radio chirped. HOTD chirp. One. Then another. People looked over at me like I'd brought alien technology. Meanwhile, I knew exactly what it meant. Not voices, not dispatchers, telemetry. The train was finally close enough that the head of train device was talking back. If you know, you know. And if you don't, it basically turns your radio into a metal detector for trains. Then, something happened. I stopped hearing the crowd, stopped hearing conversations, stopped noticing anything around me, because off in the distance, you could hear it, just faintly. Chug, 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 chug. Then, the crossing activated. The bell started ringing. Everybody stood up. Phones came out, mine included. And suddenly, this 32-year-old man became 10 years old all over again. And there it was. And just like that, it was over. 1 minute, 10 seconds. That's all. The longest minute of my life, and somehow the shortest. I've been obsessed with Big Boy since I was a kid. Back then, they were museum pieces. You never imagined one would move again. Then somebody restored one. Then it left Wyoming. Then it crossed the country. Then, somehow, it came to Pennsylvania, to a little grade crossing in Derry, where I happened to be standing. There's a Rolling Stones lyric that came to me when I was thinking about this script and how this would all tie it together. You can't always get what you want. And most of the time, that's true. Life gets messy. The last few months certainly were for me. Family medical emergencies, long days at work, more overtime than I ever wanted. June felt like I practically lived at work, and I was genuinely getting worried I might miss this day. There were days where it felt like life was just one thing after another. Then today happened, and the rest of that Rolling Stones song finally made more sense. But if you try sometimes, you just might find you get what you need. I thought I needed to see Big Boy. Turns out I needed a day with my dad, my sister, my nephew, the wonderful Railfan we talked to. I needed good weather, good people, 3 heritage units, a radio chirping beside my chair, a pop-up tent and a pile of railroad ballast, a steam whistle echoing across Derry, a reminder that after enough rough days, sometimes life really does give you exactly what you need. And if today happened to be my last day on Earth, I'd leave with a smile, because I honestly can't think of a better way to spend it.